Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
So, Dottie,
Yes.
say hi to Joyce and Patty, and Lynn and Chin Lee, and
Good morning.
Martha and Scott.
Joyce, Patty, Chinley, Glenn, Laura, Scott,
Martha
and Martha.
and Sky.
And Sky.
Sky.
Oh, hi, Sky.
Well, go up and say hi to them.
Here comes Jen. Hi, Sky.
So glad to welcome you here, everybody. Look at the camera. There we go. So welcome. We're so happy you're with us in this huge circle. Just imagine that huge circle surrounding you with peace and love.
Awesome.
Thank you, Reverend Jen. Okay. So, Ed, do you think we're ready? Did you lost to Maria? There she is.
We're ready to go.
We're ready to go.
Can I make my announcement?
You may make your announcement. I mean, after all, you're a trustee of our parent church. You can do just about anything you want.
The word entrust right now is a little bit sensitive word for me in a family matter. So thank you. Trust is really important. We're all on journeys, every one of us. We wouldn't be here if we weren't on a journey. And Dottie's letting me ooze my journey a little bit here today. For 5 years, I've been working to divest myself of my mother's stuff. Cords and all sorts of crazy things. Duties that we didn't know we had, things like that. And I've had another series of epiphanies. And I've brought a bunch of stuff to give away for free. It's on the back tables. I started out with soft goods. I do garage sales, no problem, but it doesn't tend to move. And I didn't want to put soft goods at the garage sale. So I have the smallest thing I have is a spoon with an Arc de Triomphe. And the biggest thing I have is a king-size comforter. And the cutest thing I have has pandas on it.
Oh.
It's worth a look. I don't want to take any energy away from the front room, but I'll be back there. And I have many other things. If you feel like you want to do some brokering for me, please come talk to me. Thank you so much. Have a lovely Passover.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Chris. And many of you are aware that we are part of a parent church, the Universal Church of the Master. So when we talk about UCM, that's what we're talking about. We are one of the charters. And we have many charters around the country. And so, and we are the Center for Creative Living. And I almost said the Center for Living and Dying. Because I'm so in touch with Reverend Jen, but here we are. We have a special guest today, Carol Fitzgerald. And her uncle was the person who wrote most of the text that we use for UCM. And so we always respond because of your lineage. Also because of your beautiful energy too, Carol, not just because of your uncle. So I'm so glad to have you here from Colorado. Thank you so very much. I was handed a picture of this beautiful man. His name is Hong Lon, and he passed away at 4 a.m. on Saturday. And this is a relative of our. We don't even need to know who he's related to. We just need to know.
He's my brother-in-law. I didn't know him personally because he lived in Vietnam, but he's really close with my girlfriend. It's her brother. So
Yeah, and mainly it's his energy. If you get a chance, and I don't know if you can see this picture, but this just looks like a very peaceful, very sweet man. And when Eddie handed me this to me, he said, "Do you get anything from home?" And the first thing I got is, he's not anywhere right now. And tell your girlfriend to call me later. If we don't immediately leave our body and then we're in spirit, there is a space of time, just like everything. You weren't born the minute your mom first said, "Oh, I think this baby's coming." There was a space of time. All transition, there's space of time. And they're very spiritual. It's a very spiritual place and time. So that's why I'm doing a blessing for him. And when somebody passes, remember to do a blessing. Your energy helps them move forward. Sometimes people are so confused after they die, they linger. And so our prayers, our energy is what lets them give the propulsion. I can't imagine a spirit with propulsion, but that's what it came with. But that spirit to move forward, okay? So let's just take a moment and close your eyes and send a blessing to this wonderful man in Vietnam who is connected to us by somebody here in this room right now. And know that we see him moving forward, moving up to meet with Creator. And may he have a very excellent journey. Thank you all very much. Well, welcome. This is your first time here. We're so glad to have you here. Last week we had 42 people here for Easter, and I think they all got too much sugar and stayed home this week. And the streets were blocked off. It was a very interesting morning, and you all made it. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You're survivors. This is so great to have you here. And does anybody have a birthday this week? Anybody? Okay. Well, we always want to honor people who have birthdays. That's a great gift for you to be on the planet. We have so many interesting things happening in the world. And this is such a magnificent week we are in. We have Ramadan going on, and we have Passover going on, and we have Easter. I mean, all of the three great religions all came together in 1 week. And when you think of that, that doesn't happen very often. And we want you to know that whatever religion you are certainly welcome here. We are so proud of you, and it's diverse. Let me know if there's something you want us to look into and talk about. We're open. This is your church. We're open to help you learn more about other religions. You can't grow in your spiritual growth if you're just stuck and you can't accept and acknowledge other religions. So that's why we have this place that we want to invite you to, okay? Now, speaking of inviting, I want to invite our wonderful Reverend Dr. Janet Childs up with her magical guitar. And for all of those of you on Zoom, we want you to be a part of this. Because, Janet, do you feel comfortable to just do the meditation too?
Sure.
I would love it.
I always pay attention to.
Well, you know, your buddy Carol is here. I bet she'd like to hear you.
Oh, you know
yeah.
what? Maybe Carol could help you do the meditation.
Well, she could. I don't know what that means.
I don't either. We'll find out, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go.
All right. And we just invite you to take a nice deep breath and to stretch your body. Okay, stretch your body, move your body, and reach to the sky with your face. That's it. We have wonderful pre-service exercises that are done for us by our amazing couple that helps us to loosen up and helps us to be together. And I just want to say that is such a gift, our body is. Our body is an amazing gift. And
And so let us just start off by saying thank you. Thank you to this wonderful container of our spirit. And with every breath you take, and just with every moment that your body expresses your amazing love for the earth. We have just gone through Earth Day, and I'm going to honor celebrating Earth Day as we are in the middle of Pesach, as we are in the middle of Ramadan, as we are in the middle of celebrating spring in all of its beauty and in all of its unfoldment. We can plant seeds. And so from the depth of the earth and the sea, seeds are born. And so I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and just to imagine yourself in this amazing place in nature. And it can be the beach, it can be a meadow, it might be in the middle of the desert, or on a mountaintop, or on a mesa. Wherever you are called, what part of earth calls you now? Allow yourself to experience the beauty of the earth through your 5 senses. The colors, the aromas, the sounds. You might be hearing a bird call. You might hear the rustle of the leaves. You might smell the aroma of the ocean. Feel the sunlight pouring down on you. You are a being of the earth. You are connected to the earth. Your body is that connection for your soul and for your heart to express all that you are. Now notice, as you are in this beautiful place, feel your body settle in, and breathe with the heartbeat and the breath of the earth. Notice down. Your eyes are noticing. These amazing seeds. These seeds are a gift to you from our Mother Earth. And so just allow yourself to pick up those seeds and notice, what is it that you want to plant? What is it this time in the spring season, in this time in your life? What would you like to plant? It might be seeds of freedom, which is what Passover is about. It might be seeds of hope, seeds of love, seeds of forgiveness, seeds of peace, seeds of joy. whatever it is, just acknowledge it to yourself. And as your hands are holding the seeds, just place them in your heart. And know that you, with your energy, are constantly opening up the rich soil of your beingness to plant these seeds. So just allow yourself to feel those seeds in the earth of your heart, and in the river of your life. These are seeds that with your intention and your prayer and your energy will bring healing to the world and bring healing to you and to everyone around you. So just place your hand on the heart and just place your seeds right there. And just allow yourself to be with that right now, this moment. Plant the seeds of life. I plant the seeds of hope. I am the rich soil that brings my life to this moment, to this gift that I give of my heart. And we plant the seeds of hope, and we plant the seeds of love, and we plant the seeds of all that we are holding in our heart. Oh, bring it home, bring it home, spring. We are growing, we are lifting our arms to the sky. This is our prayer, this is our wish, this is our dream. Realize, bring it forward, bring it through, bring it to this moment. And we stand in our power, and we dance in our joy, and we hold each other sacred. Oh, the seeds we plant today. Oh, your seed is a gift, and your hope is the promise, and your life is the giving moment we can live. We live, we give, we are the seeds of life. We dream, we hope, and we bring this seed realized. Oh, gentle, strong, and free, we together plant these seeds. Let's take a moment, just slowly open your eyes and come back to the room. Thank you so very much, Janet. That was wonderful.
have so many things to be grateful for today. We have a place to come and worship. We have a place to gather together as family and friends. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. We have a great speaker today. And Reverend Ann, who is the Associate Pastor, has every time she comes to speak, something happens. It's just been this amazing thing. And she was saying, why do these things happen to me? It's because the Creator knows she can handle them. When she got here, the whole place was blocked off by a run that was going down the Alameda. And so she had to really figure out how to get here. And yet, she persists. And she survives. And she is one of these people we're so glad to have not only in our church, but as part of a friend and part of our wonderful group of people who appreciate Harry Potter. Because she got to go see the play last night, and it was up until all hours, I'm sure, and then was able to make it here. Thank goodness you don't drink any. This is something that we tease about because we are always saying, yeah, but we made it, and I'm so glad you're here, and you're going to be talking about Passover.
I think so.
Yeah, and Reverend Ann was raised by parents who were Jewish, and even though she wasn't fully trained in where to go and what to do as a member of the Jewish persuasion, she has a very big connection with it and a lot of information. Please welcome Reverend Ann Corbin.
I'm so glad you're here. Let me stagger over to
I'll let you stagger over to your chair.
Okay.
I was gonna, when I reintroduced myself to Carol, she said, you've been around the church for a while, and I said, yeah, more than 15 years. I realized today that I was ordained more than 20 years ago.
Wow.
So where does the time go? It went somewhere. So good morning. Thank you for those who made it this morning, and hello to everybody in Zoom land. Thank you for being here one way or another. I'm so glad that you're here. So Passover actually has just passed. It passed us over because Easter landed at the same time. So in reality, last Sunday when Reverend Dr. Mary was speaking about Easter, we were already just beginning Passover because Passover is a 7-day holiday. And the first thing that I saw this morning when I got online, I always check out Facebook, what's going on in the world. You have to get all your news from Facebook, right? But actually, I look for my family and friends. And the first photo that I saw was my cousin had taken a photograph of his 3 grandchildren, and my cousin is a rabbi. And they were all having a pizza and pasta party because you could eat leavened items again. So it's the big celebration that Passover is over, and now you can eat the leavened items. So they were very happy about that. I think that was what they were talking about at their Seder. So we all, I think almost everybody knows the story of Passover, right? Because Passover is Exodus in the Bible. And, just a really quick, I can't give you the 10 Commandments version of it because, that we'd be here for hours upon hours. So basically, when there was a Pharaoh in Egypt that decided that even though people were happily living the Hebrew people were happily living in Egypt at the time, when this new Pharaoh took over in his greed and whatever, he decided that these were the people that were going to build their temples for them, that they were going to be the slaves, they were going to be enslaved. And he was going to, there was going to be, all the children were going to be killed of the Hebrews, and so Moses, when he was a baby, was sent down the river and was found by the Pharaoh's daughter, I believe it was, and she raised him as her own. And so Moses had no idea that he was Hebrew and of the Jewish people, but he felt this empathy and this connection. So as he saw people being mistreated, he started being spoken to, and basically you could say that, that God spoke to him, and he was led through the burning bush to speak to God. He was led up to Mount Sinai to, get the 10 Commandments. He came back and, he helped lead people to their freedom. He helped to everybody to escape that. So every year in the Jewish religion and Jewish families, it's celebrated and acknowledged with, how's that for Reader's Digest version? It's celebrated and acknowledged by what's called a Seder. So a Seder is the retelling of the story. And it's a family tradition, and every family kind of creates their own traditions, but there's certain things that are very much a tradition that remain the same. The telling of the story comes in a thing called the Haggadah. Now the Haggadah, and this is interestingly enough, this Haggadah here, I think it says, brought to you by the copies of Maxwell House. I think we used to have a Haggadah like this. It's very old and very traditional, and it tells you what the rabbi says. It tells you how to dress, what to do, all these different kinds of things. Has a few pictures and things like that. And you actually open it, not like a book like we would here in the U.S. You open it from the back, so it goes from left to right from right to left, because that's how you read Hebrew, is from right to left. And so it actually does go in that order, starting off with the Pesach plate, which we're going to talk about in a moment, and telling how to assemble and so on. So one of the things about the Seder, I wanted to give we have another Haggadah here that was written by Reverend Doti Boon, from the time that we did a Seder here at Center for Creative Living.
So it goes the other way.
But this one goes from right to left. So, sorry, Dottie, you missed out. But and then another one that she meant to bring and forgot is called the Santa Cruz Haggadah, which is a very, very spiritual and metaphysical form of Haggadah. And it has us look at things from a very different point of view, which is how I like to look at everything. And I get a lot of my information from a book called Judaism for Dummies. So, and there's a lot of great ways of looking at things through there as well. So I kind of enjoy that a lot. So the Seder, one of the first things that they say is, because we are now free, we have the right to be able to lay down. We can be reclined. We don't have to sit up rigid. We don't have to follow any specific rule. And a lot of times that certain families do actually sit on pillows. But the head of the household, if there's not going to be pillows, if they're not going to be, laying down and reclined, the head of the household on his left arm always has a pillow. So something, at least that was what I read in some of these traditions too, to allow them that opportunity to, you're relaxed, you're comforted now. The Seder has traditional, foods that are part of the ceremony, and it's not necessarily always eaten, but some of them are eaten as part of the ceremony. Okay, so that's where you can have the Pesach plate. I believe this was my grandmother's. My mother gave it to me, so feel free to come up and take a look at this after service anytime you want. So mine says, excuse me, Pesach in the center, which is Hebrew for Passover.
Thank you.
Can they see now? Can you see good? Okay.
Perfect.
And it has on here all the different things that you put on the Pesach plate. And it goes around to the left. So let me describe everything that's on there. And I'm not going to point it out and describe because I'm not that coordinated. So actually, even though it's the last item that should be mentioned, I'm going to mention it first, is a roasted lamb shank. The roasted lamb shank, or some people use chicken bones, it represents the Paschal lamb sacrifice that occurred. So those, again, if you know the story of Exodus, what happens is that there are 10 plagues that occurs, to all the Egyptian people. And one of the plagues was that the firstborn of every child that was not Jewish would be killed. So God said to Moses, tell your people, sacrifice a lamb and put blood of the lamb on your door, what do they call it? The door frame.
Doorway.
Yeah, doorway. And I will pass over that household. Because the Egyptians were doing the same thing. They were killing the firstborn sons of the Hebrew people. That was part of this enslavement that occurred. So I don't think any of this is nice and lovely, but it's, but that's the story of the miracle that occurred, is that anybody that had the lamb's blood. So you have the roasted lamb shake. I was just thinking about that, about the 10 plagues. And if you kind of look at some of the things that are happening in the world today, so I'm segueing a little bit, but, it's almost as though we're reliving some of this, because I've spoken this before, we don't always learn from our history. Oh, Lordy, we don't learn from our history. And so many things repeat themselves. And hasn't there been like huge grasshopper invasions and earthquakes and floods and, all these kinds of things and fires and so on that are happening? And if you sit back and look back at the history of this, you're going to think, wow, this is like almost a repeat of the 10 plagues in some ways. What's the Creator trying to tell us, folks? Wake up. Give your love. So the roasted lamb shake, as I said, it represents the Paschal lamb sacrifice. The next one is called moror. The moror is the bitter herb. Now, the bitter herb is usually represented by horseradish or something else that's really bitter. But in my family, we love horseradish. So we, of course, use the horseradish. And the horseradish is because you want something that brings tears to your eyes. Okay, so that's the whole point of, having that bitter herb. It reminds you of the bitterness of slavery. The third is a roasted egg. Now, they actually say to roast the egg in its shell at the same time as you roast the lamb shank. You want the egg shell and everything to be as brown as possible, because really, in reality, you're not necessarily going to be eating that egg. So in traditional families, it's just there to represent a couple of different things. Number one, the egg represents springtime. It represents, new beginnings, rebirth, and so on, which is a lot of what Passover is about, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. They also say, some people say, that it represented the Jewish people. The hotter and harder you make it, the tougher they get. So we would leave, in my family, there would be an egg on our Pesach plate, but we also had pieces of hard-boiled egg that we would pass around and eat as a part of our Seder and ceremony. The karpas, that's usually parsley. And I don't know why, it was always one of my favorite things to do was dip the parsley in the salt water, and because the parsley is the symbol of the freshness of spring, and the salt water is a reminder of the tears that were cried as we were enslaved. So you've got the freshness and the renewal, reminded that we had to cry these tears and that we went through what we went through in order to be able to have this incredible freshness of spring brought to us. The chasaret, or lettuce. Much easier to say lettuce. My Pesach plate actually says lettuce on it, so I don't know if you can see that, but right there it says lettuce. And the lettuce is another bitter herb. So it's treated the same way as the horseradish, and it can also be dipped in the salt water as well. It's used the same way as the moror is as well. Then you have the haroset, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. That's actually a sweet salad that's made up of apples and nuts and wine and cinnamon. Manischewitz wine, folks. I mean, it's that really sweet wine.
Yeah.
So, and very sugary. And actually, it represents the mortar that was used when the Hebrews were making their bricks. And they ask you know, you can ask the question of why do you have something that's sweet to represent mortar and to represent something that the slaves did? And the answer is because there's a sweetness to the security and dependability of any type of slavery.
Wow.
Think about staying in your comfort zone even though it's uncomfortable, right? So enslavements, and it's enslavements that people create for themselves. Of course, on the table you have matzah, and I didn't pull out my my little thing that holds the matzah, but matzah is unleavened bread, and the unleavened bread represents the hurry that the Hebrew people had to have to get out. They didn't have any time to let their bread rise. So they were told just take it as it is. So for the week before Passover, you do spring cleaning. And the biggest spring cleaning is out of your cabinets, your kitchen cabinets. You want to remove anything that's leavened. So that includes cereal. I think somebody said honey or something. There's all, you know, cereal and your breads and, you know, and anything, any flour, anything that could rise or be, you know, leavened in any way. And you don't have to throw it away. Some people take it and they wrap it in plastic and they put it out in their garage or in a different cabinet. It has to be outside of the house. So in order to remain perfectly kosher and so on, that's what you have to do. And then, like I said, on the 8th day is when everybody brings it back in and you have a little pizza and pasta party. Yes, I never did that, but, you know, yeah, you never know. So in addition to the matzah, and the matzah is used in a couple of different ways. First off, it's used, you break off pieces of it as part of the Seder and ceremony, and sometimes it's dipped in the bitter herb, the horseradish, or eaten with a little bit of that lettuce, or sometimes it's with the chasaret, and or sometimes it's the two mixed together. So you have the bitter and the sweet together as one. So I've had that where you can put both pieces on there. And you know, as they tell the story, there's different places where you stop and do these things. There's different places in the service where you sing a song that might have something to do with, you know, with what the ordeal has been and what you've been dealing with this entire time. In addition to that, you have 4 glasses of wine that you get to drink during the ceremony. And Judaism for Dummies goes, don't worry, you're not going to get all buzzed because it's very small cups. But it's of course, you can use grape juice if you don't consume alcohol. It's a representation, you know. And it says that, let's see, I thought I had something here about the 4 cups of wine. Oh, yes. Let's see. It says that similarly he was that's what they meant by Chasaret. Sorry. There was the 4 cups of wine. It says that. There we go. Here it is. Represent 4 biblical promises of redemption. That's what it represents. There's always a representation for everything. So those 4 biblical promises, according to what I read, is, I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you from their slavery. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm, and I will take you to me as the people. That's where the word the chosen one came in, I guess. Chosen ones. I think they've said that a lot of times because I think Creator has come to the rescue many times. Now, is it just Judaism that the Creator comes to the rescue? No. Every faith has stories. Every religion, every race, everybody has stories of incredible redemption that has happened for them. So really, that's what this is about. So in addition, you also have 2 large cups that are placed on the altar, and one of the cups is a newer cup, but the older cup is the cup of Elijah. And Elijah was a prophet that we all hope to invite to our table. we open the door at a certain part of the service, and I don't know why, it was always one of my favorite parts. Do I get to open the door for Elijah? Please let me open the door for Elijah. And there's wine in Elijah's cup. And the newest cup that's been added has been the cup of Miriam. And that's filled with water. Miriam was Moses' sister, and she was the protector of the children and the women. So during the time period of the escape, or even during slavery, Miriam was there, and she would bring water and she would help to nurture. And so we want to represent her, and we want to represent her energy and her love as a part of this. And in some of the newer ceremonies, some of the newer seders, they will honor Miriam, having the women and the children do a blessing to Miriam and drink from the water, or pouring water into it, so that the glass can be empty, and then they pour the water in as thanks for the blessings that Miriam has brought. That's a new tradition that I only learned about, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago, that was fairly new, when we did our first Seder. And Dottie said, can we have a Miriam cup? And I'm like, what the heck is a Miriam cup? And I'm like, I gotta look that up, so I did. And I was just like enthralled. I loved it, that we had that. And so as the Seder goes on, it's pretty long. They try to keep it interesting for the children. So there's a time when the Offenkommen is what it's called, one of the pieces of matzah. There's 3 pieces of matzah that are on a plate on the Seder table, and a piece of the matzah gets broken off in the middle matzah, and it gets hidden somewhere. And at some point, the children get to go and look for it, and they're all excited and happy, and they get to have something to do. And the child who finds it normally gets given something. I don't think you can give chocolate, because I think chocolate is considered it's something that has leavening in it, and so you can't, some chocolate has flour and things in it that you shouldn't have. So they get usually coins, some money, and every kid likes to have money. So because it's such a long ceremony, they have to do something to keep people, to keep the kids interested. And I don't really know where that tradition came from, and if it's always been a tradition. But I think that it's really been, a good fun thing to do. So in my eyes, Passover is a representation of spring. It's a representation of renewal and rebirth and the joy of living and celebrating in this world today. Are we truly free? Today, in this day and age, are we truly free? It's a question to ask ourselves. Are we free in our hearts? Are we free in our souls? Do we feel free? In Judaism for Dummies, I love that book. I love it. So great. It has so many wonderful things. It says that some of the Hebrew people stayed behind when Moses led the people to Israel, to their freedom. Because, as I said earlier, they were comfortable in their discomfort. They had fears of change, fears of something new, fears of having to start all over again, not being sure that they can go forward in this new life. How many people today stay in their old addictions? Stay in the patterns of, I know I have things that trigger me all the time. Sometimes I go, am I ever going to grow from this? At least I think maybe the recognizing is the beginning of the growth, but it can be hard. We have things that hold us back. We have our own fears. So how do we have that renewal? How do we create that for ourselves? Each and every day, we give thanks. Give thanks for what freedoms we do have. We give thanks for the opportunities to change. We give thanks that we live in a land right now here in the USA that is although there's a lot of craziness going on there in the world and violence, we don't have a war going on. We give thanks that we can send prayers to the lands that are dealing with the war. We give thanks that Creator has put us on this planet to have free will. We give thanks for the opportunity to be our authentic selves, even when they think it's weird. You know, I've been watching, like, this is just really dumb, but it's like I've been watching the repeats of Fuller House. Anybody used to watch Full House and Fuller House? And the youngest kid of DJ, or second to the youngest, Max, he always wore, you know, sweaters and ties to school, and he was super intelligent and ready to be, you know, just as, you know, and he was excited because he got to skip the 5th grade and he went straight into middle school. And so he went with a suit and tie on his first day of school, and he came home with the tie off and all disheveled and just looked so depressed. And what it came down to was the kids told him that he was stupid, that he was a nerd, that he didn't belong there, that he should go away. And he started wearing khakis and t-shirts and backwards baseball hat. And, you know, I may as well just give in and fit in. And his mom and family said to him, you know, you've got to celebrate your uniqueness. You have to celebrate your uniqueness. That's your celebration. That's your freedom. You have the right to recline if you choose to recline. You have the right to wear a tie. You have the right to wear a mask even though nobody else is wearing a mask. You have the right to, you know, to be anything that you choose to be, as long as you are being true to yourself. That is true freedom. That's what freedom is about.
You've got 2 minutes. Okay,
well, I was just about to close, so we're in perfect timing. So I've got the freedom to finish my 2 minutes. So, you know, so thank you, Dottie, because I was just about to close, so that's perfect timing. I appreciate that very much. So what are you going to do today to look at yourself? I know I've been doing a lot of looking at me lately of, you know, what's happening with my attitudes, what's happening with my gratitudes. Where am I going? When we see beautiful people going through so much struggle and coming out on top of it because of their faith, because of their knowledge of their true selves, that's where we know that we are truly free. And I have the freedom to say, I love you, and really mean it. And I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reclaim the freedom.
For those of you who piggyback on what we said for Easter, we know that the Last Supper was a Seder. Because Jesus was a Jew. So when we look at that, you know, somebody's talking about the Last Supper, and you see the picture, you can actually look at the different things that people have painted that is on that table. And you go, oh, I know that. That's what Annie was talking about. That's a lamb shank. Yeah. Oh, that's parsley. Oh, it gives you a different view when you can start combining one religion into another. It makes you realize how we're all very much one.
And what I forgot to mention was, because of the Jewish calendar being a lunar calendar, the reason it falls on a different date is it's the first full moon after the spring equinox.
Can you hear that? It's the first full moon after the
spring equinox.
Spring equinox. Okay, thank you so very much.
So, excuse me, I wanted, Joyce and Patty said, great talk, Annie. Very interesting and inspiring, thank you. And then earlier they had said, hello, Annie, good to see you. And even before that, and this is all Joyce and Patty? Yeah, Joyce and Patty. And so, and then before that, they said, hello, Ann. Good to see you. That's me repeating. Good morning, all. Happy Sunday. And then Glenn and Chinley said, thank you for the explanation. Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, yes, Chris.
There's one historical piece that I wonder if I could just make a comment about.
We are out of time, so we're gonna have, this is going to have to be speedy.
It's
Come on up. This is the Reader's Digest version here.
Yes, but I just think it's really great for our group.
Okay.
So one of the things that
I'll get out of your way. Here we go.
one of the things that I love about those 4 cups of wine,
Oh, everybody loves a
one of the things that's interesting about it is that you also pour out some of the wine.
No.
Yes.
Well, there's the point where you do the blessings and you pour it into a plate, yes.
And so historically, we're talking about pictures of Jesus. Historically, the first Haggadah, the first manuscript that people have actually been able to touch is from the 1300s. And that manuscript has wine spilled on it.
Oh my gosh. Was that intentional? Or were they, or were they at the end of the last glass of wine? Okay, and Annie is going to pass a basket. If anybody wants to help her, that would be great. This is a time that we ask you to make a donation to the center. And let's repeat, look at your program, and you'll find that there is affirmation as we take the donation, and it is, and we're going to start it. Yeah, Janet, you want to start it for us? Because right now I just went blank. Janet, the blessing for giving to the ministry, from which we receive our spiritual support and nurturing, is an affirmation and consciousness of the truth that Spirit is a power and power enriching every area of our lives. And so it is. And I just go blank almost every Sunday, so please forgive me. I don't know what.
You want to tell who's going to be speaking next week? Is going to be B?
Next week, Reverend B. Bakley is going to be speaking, and she is going to be speaking about springtime.
And then Reverend Doti Boon is going to be speaking for Mother's Day.
I didn't have a program here, but I am going to be speaking on Mother's Day, since I'm a mother of many, many, many kids. Not just my own, but other people's, and so we'd like for you to come with some stories about your mother so you can share.
And then Reverend Dr. Eileen will be here.
Dr. Eileen's going to be back from Broadway. Yeah, and she'll be speaking, talking about her experience of being in New York. So we have all these interesting things going on. And
she made 30 programs, so be sure to pick one up.
She made 30 programs. Pick up a couple of programs and take them with you, and give them to your best friend, and invite them to come join you. We'd love to have that. It's really neat to do that. And now I want you all to just take a deep breath and close your eyes. Dear Mother, Father God, thank you so very much for being here today with us, filling this room full of love and energy, and feeling the spirit of everyone here, knowing that each one of us knows that there is an existence beyond what we can see and hear, but it's what we feel. We feel the essence of the spirit of Creator, knowing that that carries us through every day. Whether it's a positive day or a negative day, we can always reach out and ask that Spirit guide us through our path. Thank you so much. And we're so glad that you're here today, as I'm glad that all of you are present in this building right now. And so it is.
So it is.
Yes. Yay. Thank you so very much. And thank you for Carol for joining us. Thank you for Drew for being here with us and helping with John. Gabrielle is at a seminar today, helping with a retreat. And thank you, everybody. And please get to know each other. Say hello if you see a strange face. Well, you know, say hello. There's coffee in the back. And please look at all the goodies that Chris brought.
Free goodies.
Free. Everything there's free. Thank you so very much. And don't forget, if you know somebody that's homeless, that needs a comforter or needs something, please take it for them. Thank
And
you.
Amanda brought some items from her home, like some, was it baking? Amanda, what did you bring?
Some noodles, I think of noodles and like some chicken.
And there's some food over here that was brought in, so please see from our wonderful Amanda, see if there's something there you'd like to take home for your cabin.
Wonderful.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Yay.